In this tutorial, I'm going to show you to translate your Contact Form 7 forms using the Polylang plugin. I'm going to show you only free plugins in this tutorial, and you'll be translating your forms into any language you want after you watch this. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below this video. I'll try to get to them as best I can. And my name is Bjorn Allpass from WP Learning Lab, where we help you get better at WordPress so you can earn more for yourself, your clients, and your business. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to click subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any future videos. And we're getting started on this video right now. So we have this simple form. I've kind of jumped the gun. I've labeled this page translated form, even though it's not translated yet, but it will be by the end of this video. We're going to be able to translate all the text that appears on the form to whatever language we want to. So let's go to Dashboard. We have to install two plugins. We have to install them in a particular order. First, we have to install, wait for it, go to Plugins and Add New, CF7 Grid Layout. That should bring it up. This is the one we want right up here. Click on Install Now. And before I click Activate, we see the Polylang module. This is an add-on to the Grid Layout plugin. As you can see, it's the same developer. And this add-on then allows us to use Polylang to translate the plugin. Click on Install Now to install the Polylang add-on. And if you've not installed the Polylang plugin, then you install that one as well. So let's just look up Polylang. I have the full tutorial on Polylang. Link to it in the description down below. And it shows you how to set up Polylang and translate your whole site. And it's free. There's a pro version, but the free version does just fine. Click on Install Now and then Activate to install that. And now we have the things we need. Contact Form 7. We didn't activate these two yet. Let's activate the Smart Grid Design extension and the Polylang extension. Now with all three of those plugins installed and activated, we see here we have to set up our languages first. If you're adding this to an existing Polylang site, you don't need to because you already have the languages there because it's an existing Polylang site. But if you don't have a Polylang site set up, this is how you would then add languages. Let's choose a language. I'm just going to add English as my first one. Everything's all selected. I want to change the flag depending where you are. English is, for example, spoken in a lot of different countries. I'm going to choose Canada because that's where I am. I'm going to click on Add New Language. That's going to add it right up here. And this sets up the site to be able for you to translate it to English. Every single page on the site. We're going to focus just on the contact form in this tutorial. The other tutorial that I mentioned earlier shows you how to translate the rest of your site using Polylang. Now we have English here. I'm going to add another language. Let's make it Espanol. I don't know how to speak Spanish or read it, but I'm going to use Google Translate because I'm just doing a contact form. It should be able to translate that well enough so you, as a site owner, should be able to translate your contact form into any language you want using Google Translate, and we're going to try it in this tutorial. Hopefully there's someone in Spanish watching and they can say that translation isn't right, but hopefully it is right. So now if we go back to our contact form, we have our contact form right here. And we now see these flags on the right-hand side, and we need to have check marks and pencil marks and X's down below here. We'll see what those mean in just a minute. But they're not there because we have to delete this form and make a new one. So I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to just copy everything that's in here, or cut it actually, and then I'm going to move to trash. Then I'm going to Add New. I'm going to call this, it's called Simple Contact Form. And then I don't want to use the form builder, just want to use text. Just keep it simple. Okay, so now we have our simple text here, and we have our languages on the right-hand side. First, let's publish this. Let's go back out to our contact forms list. Now we have those check marks I told you about. So the check mark means that this form right here is for the language that has the check mark. In this case, English. We want to add a form for Spanish. We click on plus. And then we can add a translation for Spanish. So let's click on plus. Going to close that builder again. Just going to copy and paste this form in here. I'm going to go to Google Translate. And I'm just going to copy and paste these back and forth. And hopefully we'll get a pretty good translation. I'm not going to bore you by making you watch this in slow motion as I do this, so I'll fast forward while I'm translating the form. I'll be back in a minute. There we go, form translated. We have here a different field that we didn't see earlier, shows simple contact form. That is the English name of the form, and that is correct. I'm going to click on publish. Now we have our Spanish translation of the form, untitled currently. Let's just change that to this and update. Now if I go back to our forms list, we have a check mark that denotes we have the translation for that language. If you have more languages, you're going to have more flags showing up here, and they'll have checks and X's and pluses depending on how much you've done. The pencil allows us to change the name of the translated form. So if I click on this pencil here, we can change this name right here. That's the Spanish name for that form. I click on this pencil, allows us to change the English name of that form. And that's how we translate the forms. Now let's see how it looks from the front end. To get that to happen, we have to do some things first. First, we have to add a language switcher because we need to be able to change from one language to another on the front end. To do that, I'm going to add one to the main menu. So I'm going to add a main menu first. I don't have one yet. I'm going to go to Appearance and then Menus. Just going to call this Main Menu. And I'm going to add our translated form. Why not? Maybe the home. And I'm going to add the language switcher. If you don't see it as an option on the left-hand side here, click on Screen Options and check the box beside Language Switcher. That makes it appear right here. We add this drop-down, click the checkbox to add languages, add to menu. Now we have a language switcher. And the options in here allow you to determine how the language switcher looks. So I'm going to have mine display as flags. You can also display as a drop-down, display it as a language names. And you can also force link to the front page. If someone clicks to switch to a language, it goes to the front page, to the home page, instead of going to the equivalent language page. This option hides the current language. So if you're on English, for example, it would not show an English flag. And this option hides the language with no translation. So if whatever page you're on doesn't have a translated version, the flag is not present. So choose what you want. I'm just going to choose flags for now. I'm going to add this to primary English. Click on Save Menu, and now we have a menu. So if I come out here, and now we have a menu. So if I come out here and refresh, we have Home, Translated Form, and our flags. And now the page we're on has to be translated too. When you read the plugin install notes or notes here, it says here that now you can use a single CF7 shortcode for all your translations. I could not get that to work when I was testing this. So if I go to the page again, I click on Spanish, we see nothing is found because it's not picking up the translated page. So let's go back to English. Let's go to that page that we're on, translated form. This redirects to English because there is no Spanish version. And so we're going to create a translation of this page. Let's go into the back end, go to Pages, and we see we have our translated form here. We have a check mark for English, meaning we have the English page. We do not have the Spanish page. I'm going to click on plus to create the Spanish page. I'm going to call this Espanol. Spell it properly. Let's get this right. There. And we're going to add the shortcode. So let's get the shortcode right here. Untitled. This is called untitled because when I first created that Spanish form and saved it, I did not add a title. So if you add a title first and save the form, it will have the form title here, lowercase, no spaces, dashes instead. Let's publish this. Let's go out to the translated form, refresh the page. We're still in the English version. If we look at the URL, if you look closely, we see we have our domain name and then the slug for the page. If I click on the Spanish version, we have now translated to Spanish, which we see here, and we have the Spanish version, ES, and then Espanol is the name that I gave the page. So we translated or we moved to the Spanish version of that form. The menu's gone now because we did not create a Spanish menu. If I go to Appearance, then Menus, we see that this menu is the primary English. I'm just going to check this box, make it the primary Espanol as well. Even though you could translate it, make a different one, translate it, and have that be your primary Espanol. Just going to put that in there so we have a menu. So we can switch back and forth between the two. We see we have some formatting issues in the form. That should be easily resolved in the form builder itself. It has nothing to do with the translation, just in the form builder. When I copied and pasted, it did not do it properly for whatever reason. So let's see if we can fix that. Looks to be proper. Let's see if we can add a forced line break after all these. This code is just a forced line break. If I refresh out here, we now have a form on separate lines. Still not quite how we want it. Let's just add 2 forced line breaks. There we go, that's pretty good. Now we have our form translated, except for the send button. I missed that one down here. So let's just translate send, and then we are all done. And copy and paste it in there. Update. Refresh. Have our translation here. And now we have our CS7 form translated into different languages. And Polylang supports a lot of languages. And so you can translate your form to pretty much any language on the planet using Polylang, and it's free. If you want to see my full tutorial on how to use the Polylang plugin to translate all of your website, click this tutorial right here, and I'll walk you through it. And then make sure to click subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any future videos. My name is Bjorn Allpass from WP Learning Lab. Till next time, keep crushing it, and I will see you in the next video.